Hey there, friends, family, followers. Your geeky girlfriend here. And in this video, this is going to be video 4 of the Bookie Babe book review series in the channel. And in today's video, I'm actually doing a haul review of an entire series. And that series is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. Now, I do not actually have that book in my possession. I only have the sequel and the finale book, the Always and Forever, number 3. The first one is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. And then we have P.S. I Still Love You, which is the second book. And then Always and Forever, Lara Jean. These are now a popular movie series on Netflix, so I highly encourage you to read the books before watching the movies. The books are way better, as is most of the time with books and movie comparisons. So I'm just going to kind of summarize the series as a whole and point out just specific things that happen in each one. Like I said, I don't have the first one in my possession anymore. It's now in a friend's library, so she really enjoyed it, and she ended up buying the other two for herself. So shout out to my sister Sydney. She took the first one and then added these two to her collection as well. And so she still has the copy of the first one. So I won't be able to show you the cover art, which is something that I like to do in most of my reviews, but I'll just quickly summarize what happens in the first one to set up the series. And most of you probably have seen the movie. The movie stars Noah Centineo, who's a popular Netflix star, and right now, off the top of my head, I can't think of the girl who plays Lara Jean, and I am so sorry to her because I cannot think of her name, but if I find it and think of it, I will add it in the comments so everybody can follow her on Instagram and give her a shout out on social media because she is great. She does a great job. Noah Centineo also does a great job, and I'll talk about his character in the review. So the series starts out, Lara Jean and her two sisters live with her dad. Her mother passed away. And so you kind of get that character development. And Lara Jean has a tendency to write letters to her ex-boyfriends after they break up. So when they break up, she writes love letters to them, and then she hides them away in this box. Well, her and her sister get into a fight, and her sister releases the letters, and a whole slew of events unfurls after that. I'm not going to go into too many of the details. I don't want to give anything away. This series is phenomenal. Jenny Han is a wonderful author. She does a great job of telling the story. So I don't want to take anything away from the readers by spoiling what happens and what ensues. But we get introduced to all of her ex-boyfriends in the first novel, including Peter, Peter Kavinsky, who Noah Centineo plays in the movie. So he becomes a big role in not only the movies, but all 3 of the books. So her letters get released, and then there's a whole, like I said, a whole slew of events that happens after that. The first book is very good. It was another one that I could not put down. Easily a 10 out of 10 book. The drama is there. There's the high school scandal rumor thing that follows her and Peter. And they kind of get into this contractual relationship, and that's totally, it's totally appropriate. It's nothing NSFR or anything. It's definitely high school appropriate, kissing, making out, nothing crazy. So if you're worried about that for a young reader, that it's totally appropriate. There is some mild language, some mild references to, like I said, making out and kissing. But overall, totally clean books. And so their relationship that is contractual in the beginning ends up turning into something real, and it follows them through the other 2 books. So with that, we'll go into the review of P.S. I Still Love You. This is the second in the series. And again, sorry to anybody who is not a fan or not familiar with the books. Little bit of a spoiler here. On the back, Lara Jean didn't expect to really fall for Peter. So again, you have to read the first book to fully understand what that means. So this review as a whole is going to be very vague because I don't want to give too much away. But the relationship that forges, they end up actually having a real relationship, and it really comes out in this book. But in this book, a second character who Lara Jean, was an ex of Lara Jean, gets his letter, and he comes back And if you're familiar with Jordan Fisher, he's a popular Broadway actor. He actually plays that character in the movie. So if you're a fan, that's another reason to read the book. So that way you can then go and watch the movie and not, have the book before you go into watching the movie. In this one, Peter and Lara Jean's relationship sort of starts to take a toll. Jordan Fisher's character, John, comes in and kind of starts to stir up a little bit. There's a game in this one with Lara Jean and all of her friends, and Peter's friends. They do this big game where they have to tag each other, and it's a homage to their childhood, and there's a time capsule. And so Peter and John start to rekindle a flame that they met one time, and then they actually start to form a relationship too. So she kind of has to decide between the two, and they're just very similar to the Team Edward, Team Jacob debacle when Twilight was huge. It became a debacle of Team John or Team Peter with this book. So if you like that kind of sort of fandom, this book and this series does have a major fandom following. You can buy t-shirts and merch at Box Lunch for this series. So this has, because of the movie, this book series has developed quite a bit of a fandom. And I personally was Team John during this book, but I switched to Team Peter in book number 3. So Peter kind of redeems himself in book number 3, which is Always and Forever, Lara Jean. Now, this is the culmination of the series. It's their senior year, and you kind of get to, the books go more into her relationship with her dad, her relationship with her sisters than the movie can tell on screen. So that's another reason why I highly recommend reading the books. It really has that strong family dynamic. They are Korean. Her mother was Korean, and so it kind of goes into the family culture as well, and how her dad, although he's American, he tries to uphold those Korean traditions. It's very sweet. And in this book, there's actually a story arc with her dad that's very strong, and I really, really enjoyed that. Lara Jean and Peter are getting ready to go to college, and it's just kind of the tumultuous year for Lara Jean. She's really not sure what's going to happen. She's not sure where she's going to go to college. Peter's future is pretty much set in stone, and she knows that she wants to be with him, but it's not lining up so much for them in the beginning. So it's good to see her kind of find herself. I always love when a strong female character finds herself, and that's really what happens in this book. She comes to realize that no matter what happens, her and Peter will love each other always and forever, regardless of whether they go to the same school. And I think that's really powerful, especially for young readers, to know that don't squelch your dreams because of somebody else. If they truly love you, they'll stay. And I really like that this book tells that message really, really clearly. Great read all around, great series all around. Overall, I would give the first book, like I said, I would give it a 10 out of 10. It's a really easy read for all. Definitely an older reader. There is some upper level vocabulary. It's intended to be a young adult, 14, 15 age range is the age that I would recommend for these books, but they're great books. Strong female character leads, love that. Great sister relationships, love that. That my sister and I both read these books together, and we really, really enjoyed them. So I love that. Love her dad. John Corbett plays her dad in the movies. Who doesn't love him? So just great, great, great all around. For the second book, I would say it was also a 10 out of 10 for me. I loved it. It starts off a little bit slow. Just the storyline takes a little bit to build in the second one. It doesn't quite jump in as much as the first one. But I would give this one a 10 out of 10 too, with the whole dynamic of her trying to choose between two great guys. I mean, John's great, Peter's great. She has the history with Peter, but John's new, and we've all been in that situation. So this is also a 10 out of 10. I would say my least favorite of this series was this one because of the beginning. I wasn't totally loving the decisions that Lara Jean was making in the beginning, and but Jenny Han really turns it around in the end, and I really like the direction that Lara Jean ends up in, and I love the place that she ended up. So this one, honestly, is probably my least favorite of the 3, but I still give it a solid 8 out of 10. So for all 3 books together, that would be a 28 out of 30. Solid series. The movies are great. The movie for Always and Forever is coming out February 13th on Netflix. So if you are a quick reader, go read all three so you can just binge watch all the movies and catch up. The books are so much better than the movies. They have a lot more detail. Like I said, they go into a lot more detail about the sisters. Margot, who goes to Scotland, they tell a lot more of her story and what happened with her and her boyfriend and how Lara Jean looks up to her. And as an older sister, I love that story arc too. And they don't get to dive as much into that one in the movies. So definitely recommend this series to all the boys. I've loved before is the first one. I got these all at Target, but Walmart has them as well. You might see different cover art. It might have this, I think nowadays it has the star of the movie on it instead of the standard book character. However, the star of the movie does resemble this picture really, really closely. So they did a good job in typecasting that. But To All the Boys I've Loved Before is the first one. I got all three of these at Target. Half Price Books has them. Walmart, like I said, probably has the last one because the movie's getting ready to come out. But the other ones you can definitely find on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. So definitely go check those out. Those are that's probably my favorite series that I've read in the last few years. Quick reads, overall great books, and I hope you guys go check those out. Drop in the comments any books that you want me to read and review. I'm always looking for new books to read, and on my list are some old classics, things like Romeo and Juliet and The Jungle Book and Gulliver's Travels and not Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain, Tom Sawyer, things like that. So I've got a lot of those like old classic books on the shelf ready to be read, and I'm always looking for new recommendations. So drop those in the comments, hit subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next review. XOXO.